The word Hajj translates to inference by proof. When millions travel to Mecca each year, they are arriving to physically prove their faith by retracing exact historical events experienced by Adam, Ibrahim, and Muhammad. Before you can undertake this journey, you have to verify your eligibility. The Hajj is a strict duty, but only for those who are physically healthy enough to endure the exertion and financially capable of making the trip. This flowchart outlines the 3 specific paths of pilgrimage you must choose from before you begin. You can select Ifrad, which is the Hajj alone, Quran, which combines Umrah and Hajj into a single continuous state with a sacrifice, or Tamatoa, where you complete Umrah, take a break, and then re-enter the sacred state for Hajj and a sacrifice. Once you have chosen your path and arrive near Mecca, you will hit a geographical boundary line known as the Miqat. This is the exact perimeter where your physical transformation must begin. To cross the Miqat, you enter a sacred state called Ihram. You will wash, set your specific intention for the pilgrimage, and replace your normal clothes with 2 pieces of simple, unsewn white cloth, one wrapping the lower body, the other draped over the top. Stripping away tailored clothing and personal style removes all visual markers of wealth and social status. When you step past the Miqat, you do so as an absolute equal to every other person walking beside you. Your first major action inside the Grand Mosque in Mecca is the Tawaf, the circumambulation of the Kaaba, the oldest house established for mankind. There is a strict directional rule here. You must complete exactly 7 circuits around the structure, and you must do so while keeping the black stone firmly on your left side the entire time. Once you have completed your 7 revolutions around the Kaaba, you immediately move to the next physical requirement, the sa'i. The sa'i requires you to walk back and forth 7 times over a 400-meter span between 2 hills. To execute this correctly, you must ensure you begin your laps explicitly at the Safa plateau, looking for the starting signs, and not at Marwa. The exhaustion you feel during this walk mirrors the panic of Abraham's wife, Hajar. Left in the desert, she ran between Safa and Marwa 7 times, searching for water for her crying infant, Ismail, until a spring, the Zamzam well, finally erupted directly from the earth. By walking these exact 400 meters, you are turning an ancient mother's desperate search for survival into a physical prayer. It is a physical acknowledgement that provision ultimately comes from the divine. This map traces the geographical shift on the 8th day of the month of Dhul Hijjah. You will leave Mecca and travel roughly 8 kilometers east to the settlement of Mona. You will spend the entire 8th day resting in Mona. During this time, the rules of prayer are altered. You are instructed to shorten your noon and afternoon prayers to 2 rak'ah as you prepare for a massive geographic push. On the dawn of the 9th day, you wake in Mona, pray, and then immediately travel to Mount Arafat just after sunrise. On Arafat, you will again combine and shorten your noon and afternoon prayers. You spend the daylight hours standing in the elements, asking for forgiveness and repenting for sins, exactly as Adam did when he first came down to this specific mountain. As soon as the sun sets, you must leave Arafat and travel to a valley called Muzdalifah. Here, you collect your evening prayers and sleep completely exposed, directly on the ground under the night sky. In 24 hours, you have constantly moved, prayed in shortened bursts, and slept without a roof. Stripping away the comforts of shelter forces you to confront your absolute vulnerability before God. At dawn on the 10th day, the first day of Eid al-Adha, the schedule tightens. You must collect exactly 7 small pebbles from the ground in Muzdalifah and migrate back to Muna before the sun fully rises. Once in Muna, you execute the big stoning. You will throw your 7 pebbles at a large stone pillar, declaring Allahu Akbar with every single strike. This physical exertion is a direct historical reenactment. When Ibrahim was ordered to sacrifice his son, the devil attempted to intervene and break his resolve. Ibrahim responded by stoning the devil to drive away. After completing the stoning, you officially begin to decompose from the strict physical state of Ihram. You will cut or shave your hair to lift the restrictions.
If you chose the Quran or Tamatoa paths, you now arrange for an animal sacrifice. The meat is distributed to feed the miserable and the poor, mirroring the moment God provided a ram to ransom Ibrahim's son. But the 10th day is still not over. You must travel back to Mecca for another 7-circuit tawaf around the Kaaba, and then return all the way back to Mana to sleep. The relentless walking, throwing, sacrificing, and traveling required on this single day test the physical limits of the body, demanding that you submit entirely to divine instructions rather than your own comfort. For the 11th and 12th days of Zulhijjah, you settle into the massive encampment of Mana to finish the requirements. Over these 2 days, you must throw stones at 3 distinct pillars after the noon prayer. To avoid a critical error, you must follow the strict targeting sequence, starting with the upper pillar, then the middle, and finally the little one. Once you have completed the final sequence of stoning on the 12th day, you are officially permitted to pack up, leave the Valley of Mana, and head back toward Mecca. By waking up multiple days in a row to physically hurl stones at an assigned target, you build a muscle memory of active rejection, training yourself to turn away from temptation long after the journey ends. There is only one mandatory step remaining. Before you can depart, you must return to the Grand Mosque in Mecca to perform a final farewell tawaf around the Kaaba. Some pilgrims may opt to stay in Mana for a 13th day to complete an additional round of stoning, but they too must ultimately return to Mecca for this final circambulation. The moment you complete your 7th lap of this farewell tawaf, your obligations are fulfilled. Your Hajj is officially complete. You have just inherited a message that predates modern civilization. By completing these exact rituals, you joined an unbroken line of people stepping entirely out of their daily lives to honor the origins of life itself. The Hajj is the ultimate physical proof of your faith. You used your body's exhaustion, your time, and your resources to demonstrate a lifelong commitment to the divine. Save this guide for when you receive your invitation and prepare for the journey.